welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's a girl who churches stitches. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you guys steps I took in designing this Ankara travel bag with pockets in front. In this channel, I share dressmaking tutorial and bag making tutorial. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel till now, do wait to subscribe for more beautiful content like this to come. Without further ado, let's get straight into the sewing tutorial. This is an Ankara bag, so you need to work with Ankara fabric. You can also work with other materials as well. So what I have here is 1 yard of African print, and 1 yard will be enough in making of this travel bag. My fabric is on a fold. I'll take the length of the bag. The length I'm cutting out for this bag is 14 inches and width is 16 inches. I will divide it into two to get the front and back of this bag. And this bag I'm going to curve the upper part of this bag so that it won't appear in a four corner way this way. So it's very easy to I'm going to use my free hand to curve this, and just watch how I'm curving it and do the same thing to yours. If you're going to be working on this style of bag exactly another time, I suggest you get a paper and use this shape and draft on the paper so that you have the pattern of this bag, so that next time it won't be difficult for you. So the next thing I'm going to be working on, I'm going to be coming down from this upper part by 5 inches. This 5 inches I'm coming down by, I'm going to replace it with a black fabric. The black fabric I'm working here with is a doll face material, so you can also work with other colors. White can also be good because there's a touch of white in this my Ankara fabric, or even blue, doll face, or any material you have. It depends on the type of material you're working with. So I'm just going to trace it out on this black material. I'm going to go right on my sewing machine and join this black fabric to the Ankara fabric so that I'll get back my full body of my bag. And after joining, I'm also going to turn it and top stitch. I'll also do the same thing to the second part. After I was done with the joining and top stitching, this is how it looks like. The next step is to stitch a foam to the front and back of this bag. If you're in a situation that you don't have a foam, you can work with interfacing. You can use gum stain and just gum on the front and back of your bag. So right now I'm going to cut out the shape I need as a foam for the body of this bag while I go right on my sewing machine and stitch it. After stitching, I'm just going to cut off the excess allowance. After stitching the foam to the front and back of the bag, the next step is to add the front pocket to the front of the bag, which I've already cut out the materials for the front bag. The measurement for this front bag, as you can see, it's on a fold. The width is 6.5 inches and the length is 7 inches. You cut out this 2 because the pocket in the front is 2. I'm going to fold it just like this while I go right on my sewing machine and stitch. When stitching, make sure that you left one part open. Do not stitch everything up. This other material will serve as the cover for the pocket, which is the flap. So after I was done stitching it, I'm going to notch those stitched parts round. Then I'm going to turn it inside out, following the open part we didn't stitch. That open part, I will now fold it and fold the rough edges inside, and I'm going to measure to now make sure that the length of the pocket is 6 inches, no longer 7 inches. After folding it in and getting my length, which is 6 inches, I'll go right on my sewing machine and stitch it up. I'll do the same thing to the second pocket. After the stitching, this is how it looks. This flat pocket now, I'm going to give it a base. So at this stitched edge, I'm going to fold it this way. As you can see, like this I am pinning. I'm going to fold it and do the same thing to the second side while I go right on my sewing machine and just stitch the little stuff, and I'll be right back so that you guys will see the base that I've given to the pocket. After stitching the down part in a triangular form, this is how it looks. It now has a base. So the next thing I'm going to be stitching to this front bag is a magic tape, so that you'll be able to close and open it using the cover of this pocket. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to arrange this magic tape and place it on the fabric, and when you are cutting it out, make sure you left enough space by the side, and let me say half inches by the side, then you cut it out. I'm going to open up the magic tape this way. I'm going to measure down 1 inches, because this 1 inches that I'm measuring down, I'm still going to fold it and stitch it up. So I came down by 1 inches, and the part of the magic tape you are placing this part is the hair part, like that part that has hair enough, you get. So I'm going to use my pin to hold it while I go right on my sewing machine and stitch it together with the pocket. After stitching one part of the magic tape to the front back, this is how it looks. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be cutting out the flap, that is the cover of this front bag. So I'm just going to use this small fabric to randomly trace it out. For the width of the flap, I'm going to randomly trace it out using this already stitched pocket. And for the width, remember that this stuff is on the fold, so I'm going to measure down 3 inches. That is total of 6 inches for the width. And I'm also going to create a curve effect in the flap. So just this way, I'll do the same thing to the second flap by using this one to trace it out on the second one. So this is how the boat flap looks like. I'm going to notch the boat edge. The reason why I'm notching this is because I'm going to be stitching the remaining part of the magic tape right now on it. So the notched line will help me to place the magic tape accurately before stitching. So I'm going to place the magic tape on it this way. As you can see that notched part, I'm not going to pass that notched part, just stay within one side of the circle, half of the circle this way. I'll go right on my sewing machine and stitch the magic tape to it. After stitching it, this is how it looks. So I'm going to fold it like that it was at first, and I'll go right on my sewing machine. While stitching this together, I'm going to leave a small space that I will use to turn it inside out. Make sure to leave a small gap so that you'll be able to turn this flap inside out after stitching. I'm going to fold in that small opening while I go right on my sewing machine and top stitch round. I'll do the same thing to the second flap. Here we go, here we go. This is how the flap looks after top stitching, and the flap is ready. The next step is to get one face of the bag to serve as the front. Then I'm going to place this pocket on it this way, and I'm going to measure 1 inches by the side inside, 1 inches by the side. Then after measuring 1 inches by the side, at this down part as well, I'll measure 1 inches upward. I'm going to use my pin to hold it while I go right on my sewing machine and stitch. Remember I told you guys in the making of this front pocket when we're stitching it that I'm going to fold in this 1 inches part inside. So, and I forgot, so that is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to stitch the 1 inches part inside, then I'll complete my stitching. At the same time, I'll place the flap on top of it this way and stitch as well. After stitching the front bag, that is the pocket in front of the bag, this is how it looks. The next step is to stitch the handle to the bag, and for the handle I am working with this black belt, and the width is 1.5 inches and the length is 29 inches. The measurement I'm going to mark on the body of the bag to fix the handle accurately, I'm going to mark in 3.5 inches on both sides. So after marking the 3.5 inches on both sides, I'm going to place the handle before the marked line. You understand? but I'm going to first fold in this edge inside so that the beginning of the edge will be smooth, and I'll place it before the line. I'm also going to mark down 1 inches, so that 1 inches line is where I'm going to stop the stitching of the handle to the bag. After stitching the handle, the next step is cutting out lining for the boot, and the back part I'm going to add just a small inside pocket which I've already folded. So I'm going to use my chalk to just trace out the shape of this bag on the lining, so that when I'm stitching this small front bag inside, I'll place it at the center so that it won't be one-sided. So I will target the center. I'll use my pin to hold it to stick to the lining while I go right on my sewing machine and stitch. When stitching this to the lining, make sure you leave the one part open, which is the part you use to, you can add your hand inside and add stuffs. After stitching the pocket to the lining, I will now place the back part following the edges I marked chalk at. Then I'll stitch it round. After stitching, I'm going to do the same thing to the front, and I'm going to as well cut off the excess lining. Here we go, and this is how it looks after I was done stitching the lining to the bag. Next is to measure inches for the side of the bag. From this black starting point to the other black starting point will be for the top zipper panel, which is what I'm measuring now. And after measuring it, I got 21 inches. From that line of the black fabric, I'm going to measure down. That will be the base of the bag. And after measuring it, I got 30.5 inches. So these two measurements I have here, one is which is the 21 inches is for the zipper panel, and the 30.5 inches is the base part. I've already cut out material for the base, length 30.5 inches, width is 4 inches, and the same to the top zipper panel. The length is 21 inches, the width is 4 inches, but I divided it into two, that is 2 inches, because I'll be adding the zip between. What I'm going to do now is to cut out foam for this strip piece I have here and stitch it. And after I was done stitching it with a foam, this is how it looks like. I'm going to guide you guys now on steps you take to achieve adding zipper to the side of your bag. So if you're making this, if you're adding zipper to other materials and you are not working with foam, and follow the process of adding the zipper to a bag neatly. I've done a lot of tutorial on this, but this one I'm just going to now teach you guys again here. I also cut out lining for the fabric, and when cutting out my lining, I usually love cutting out the length and width of the lining will be bigger than the actual main fabric. So I'm going to place this my zip right face facing right face to the material. Then I'm going to get my lining and place it facing the zipper part while I go right on my sewing machine and stitch. After stitching, this is how it looks. I'm going to turn the lining to face this fabric side while I go right on my sewing machine and top stitch on top of this fabric. After top stitching, I also stitch the other side and cut off the excess lining allowance. I'll get the completion for this top zipper panel and also do the same thing. This is how it looks after I was done working on the top zipper panel. So the next thing I'm going to be stitching together to the zipper panel is the base part. So watch how I'm going to be adding the base to it. You face the base this way. I'm going to get this top zipper panel and place it right face facing right face and get the lining for this base. I'll place it on top of the zipper panel. Do you understand? While I go right on my sewing machine and stitch. After stitching, I'm going to turn the lining to face the base part and then go right on my sewing machine and top stitch at that place that I've stitched on. At the same time, I'll be top stitching this part. I'll face this base directly to the zipper side and then draw the lining towards the zipper side as well. I'll also stitch that part. This is how it looks after I was done with the stitching. So I'm going to pass this lining. Just watch how I'm going to fold this lining so that it will face to the base part. Then after facing it to the base part, arranging it very well, I'm going to go right on my sewing machine and stitch the lining so that it will stick to the base. This is how you achieve making the side of your bag. If you want to also watch my backpack tutorials, how to add zip lead neatly to a bag, I'm going to drop the link to the video in the description box. If you wish or you want to add a longer handle to your travel bag, this is where you should have added a ring to, so that you're able to add the long handle to it. But because I won't be needing a long handle in my own, so I have no need for that. So what I'm going to do now is to find the center of this top zipper panel, and I'm going to also find the center of the base. I'll just use my pin to pin it round so that I'll make sure that there is no excess while I go right on my sewing machine and stitch round. After the stitching, at the same time, I'm going to cut out a very long stripe of lining and cover this rough stitch edges. So guys, these are steps I took in the making of this Ankara travel bag. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more beautiful content like this to come. Turn on the notification bell to be notified when I post new video. Also share this video to people you think it will be helpful to. Comment down below on what you think about this tutorial. And this is all for today's video. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.